Here at Needham, we have a lot of things that we're excited about. We have a focus on instructional blocks that emphasize the workshop model. But one of the things that weaves through all of our academic areas is a focus on perseverance, on the idea that struggle is a natural part of learning. That ties into one of our elements of effective instruction, which is that learning is a cycle. And when we are given the opportunity to practice, given feedback, we have to know that making mistakes is natural, that making mistakes is a part of the process. One of the ways that we teach students about this is through a graphic and an explanation called the learning pit. In every classroom, students learn about this concept. It comes from the work of James Needham and is a piece of his broader work on the learning cycle and learning struggle. So when we talk to students, we talk through about the idea of approaching a new concept with excitement. When you start to struggle with that concept, you're going into the pit. When you're in the pit, it can feel like you're having a difficult time and you're not going to be able to learn this. But that's where the idea of perseverance, growth mindset, understanding that struggle and getting things wrong the first time are all part of the learning cycle. And so we have students use language like, I can do this, or I'm not there yet. And that's when we start moving our way towards gaining new skill and mastery. And then when we get the new skill, we've emerged on the other side of the learning pit. And one of the ways we engage them is to say, where are you in the learning pit right now? And often when they are able to identify that, it's the boost they need to continue persevering until they master a new skill.
I know the learning pit is something that's kind of necessary because you have to go through the learning pit to eventually learn what you are trying to learn. But if you know, it's not the same as going into the learning pit. Instead of going into the stuff where you're like, I don't want to do this. No, I don't like this. And then you actually put in the effort and you say, this is fun. I like this. I can do this.
The learning pit is a place that when you go in, you're not really sure how to get out. You're sort of stuck in there and you're like, how do I get out of here? And when you come up a little, you're like, I'm close. And when you're out, you're like, yay, I can do this.
I like being in the learning pit, and it's pretty fun. At first, you're like, I need help, I can't do it. And then it gets easier on your way out, and then you're like, oh, now I get it. And then you start to kind of move up, and you're like, okay, so this goes there, so that goes there. And then sometimes when you're in the learning pit, when you're like about there to the top, you just go all the way back down. And that's pretty hard. So there are where like you could be in the learning pit and keep going through it. Like there's a secret passage back up to the top of the learning pit.
When you're going down into the learning pit, you're figuring it out, then you're in the middle of it, you're stuck, you're confused, you don't really know what to do. And then you have to just figure it out. You have to go through with it and come back up to the top.
What's it feel like when you get back to the top?
It feels really nice. You get the feeling that you're successful and you're proud of yourself. The whole school year is pretty much a big learning pit with pits inside.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from these different students about their experience with the learning pit. And it's helped all of us to think through how perseverance matters as a part of the learning process, how struggle is a natural piece of learning, and how we can encourage our students towards productive struggle so that they can gain mastery of new skills.